everyone, it's Karen with Yes Please Paper Crafts, and this video is part of the Let's Get Organized YouTube Hop, where each month we share tips and ideas on how to store and organize different items in our craft rooms. And so y'all be sure and go check out everyone else's videos that is participating in this month's hop, and I'll have links to those videos in the description below. So last month I talked about revolving storage items that spin, and how that storage didn't really work well for me. So I think everyone has a different organization style, things that work really well for them in their craft room. Different things work for different people, and it all depends on, I think, a couple of different things. It depends on how your brain works and how you think about things. It also depends on how you physically can handle things. So what I'm going to talk about today is storing things in binders. So I was thinking about this the other day, and I really love putting things in a binder. I think it's a really great organization system. It's a really awesome organization tool to put things into a binder. I think it's really awesome. A lot of offices use this. It's been in use for a really long time. You can put things into a binder, put it on a bookshelf. It's organization that's vertical. So you can put it into a binder and store it vertically on a bookcase. And it's a really easy to get to it. And I was thinking about that and thinking, why do I not use binders more? And I realized that the thing that I do not like about binders is that it's really difficult for me to pick up a binder with one hand. So it's a physical limitation for me. Personally, I had carpal tunnel in both of my hands. I did have surgery, carpal tunnel surgery in both hands. That was back, I think, in 2001. And so I do not have the strength in my hand to pick something up in this type of a grasp, like with my fingers like this. It's very difficult for me to pick something up like that. And so that's a physical limitation that I have. And so I think this is one of the reasons why I think organization is a very personal thing to everyone. You have to kind of figure out what works really well for you and what might not. So when I see somebody that has a huge binder, one of those really huge 3-ring binders, and they're storing their metal dies in it, and I'm thinking, how in the world can they lift that? Because there's no way, even with 2 hands, I would have a struggle trying to pick that thing up and get it off the shelf. So yeah, it's really a struggle for me to pick something up like that with my hands. So I think that's one of the things to think about as you're going through and trying to decide what type of organization you want to see in your craft room, what you want to use. Think about what works well for you with your organization style, and also with what your physical limitations are, or what works for you. And so as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about my stencil storage that I have, and it's gotten kind of out of hand. And so I have these stencils books that I had created, and I like to kind of reuse what I have. So I have these 8x8 post-bound albums. And when I can, I like to reuse something that I already have in my craft room rather than go out and buy something. But sometimes it's better, I think, if you spend a little bit of money and get something that works better. So I have these post-bound albums in my craft room. They were just sitting around, and I just thought one day, hey, I'll just reuse this and use it as a storage item to organize my stencils. And it was working pretty good until it got bigger and bigger and heavier, and now it's too heavy for me to lift with one hand. And so I started thinking about, well, how can I redo my stencil organization, but still I like it being in a book. This works really well, but this book has just gotten to be too big and it's too heavy. So I decided to go out to YouTube and see if I could find something that would give me the inspiration that I needed to solve this problem. And I came across this video from 𝗬𝗲𝗀, and she was sharing the storage solution that she found on Amazon. And I thought it was really cool, and I thought I would share it with you guys. So this was, what she shared was a cookie stencil storage book. And I decided not to actually use that. And the main reason was because that particular storage solution was for 6x6 stencils. And I have stencils that are 8 inches, so it didn't really work for me. But I thought it was really cool, and I will share a link to her video and also to that storage solution if you want to get that. It was very inexpensive, and I thought it was super cool. It came with 50 of the storage sleeves, and it was very lightweight. It had a plastic cover, and it was a two-ring binder system, which I thought was really neat. So anyway, that was really cool, but it did give me the inspiration what I decided to do for my stencil storage. And so that's why I wanted to share that with you guys, because that was what the jumping point was for me to give me the inspiration for what I decided to do to upgrade my stencil storage solution. So there's different types of binder systems that you can use, or binding systems that you can use to create a book. And so the three I'm not going to be able to talk today, but the three-ring binder, you can have a 2-ring binder. That's one type of binding system. Or you could have this type of binding, which is a post-bound binding. I did think about getting the 2-ring binder, but unfortunately I wouldn't be able to reuse these sleeves, because the 2-ring binding system, if I would just buy that piece to use to create my own binder, the holes would be closer together. I would have to punch more holes into my plastic. And I thought about doing that, but I would have to buy that part. And you can buy the 2-ring or 3-ring binder piece, that metal piece. But I thought, well, I already have these binding post screws. I could just reuse these metal pieces. You can just use a screwdriver and you can take these out. So I thought, well, how could I just reuse what I have and just make a cover? So I went off looking on Amazon, just searching and searching. I love searching on Amazon because Amazon has everything. And I came across this plastic, and actually the plastic is stencil plastic. So I was searching for stencil things and plastic and just different things, and looking for something lightweight that I could use to make a cover. Oh, this is stencil plastic, and this is actually the 10 mil plastic. There's also a 7 mil, and that refers to the weight or the thickness of the plastic. And so the bigger the number is, the heavier this plastic is. It's still pretty lightweight. You can see that it bends. And I decided to try this out. One of the things I've always wanted to do is to create my own stencils. And I do have a Cricut machine, and you can cut this with the Cricut with the deep blade. And so I thought, well, I'll just buy some of this. If it doesn't work for me to create my binder cover for my book, I'll just use this to create my own stencils. And this was fairly inexpensive. I got 24 sheets of this. It's 12 by 24 inches. And I got 24 sheets, and it was around $20. And I thought that was a great deal. So I already did play around with this, and I created a stencil book already, and I'm going to show y'all what this looks like. And then if y'all want to stick around and just play around with this with me, I'll make another book. One of the things I thought about was, now that I have this, these plastic sheets, I can make as many books as I want. So if I outgrow my books and I make the books too big, I can just make another one, and I can keep my books small so that they won't get too big and they won't get too heavy. And I'm going to share with you, I did weigh the books just to kind of see if this is really going to help me with the weight of this book. And so I weighed this book. This book is over 3 pounds. And when I weighed the book after I redid the cover, the new book with the stencils, with the new cover, was 1 pound, and I think it was just under 1.5 pounds. So now, with the same amount of stencils, it's about half the weight of this book, which is awesome. And if I wanted to, I could reduce the weight by just making smaller books if I wanted to. So this is my new book, and I just, what I did was I created covers, and I reused the post-bound system, and I just used this plastic stencil material to make a cover. I made the front cover, I made the back cover, and I did not bother to create the spine here. You could create the spine cover and make it look pretty, but I didn't do that. I didn't bother to do that, but you could do that if you wanted to. One of the things I love about this idea is that I can create these books in any size that I would like to create. And I have thought about actually creating one, because I do have 12 by 12 stencils. One of the only disadvantages, I would love to have some of the stencil material in a 13-inch size so I could create a book that's bigger. Because if I create a book to hold my 12-inch stencils, it won't have anything, I'd like to create a 13-inch book so that my 12-inch stencils would fit in there with a little bit of, the cover would be a little bit bigger than the stencil. But I still think it would work even if I created the cover to be the same size as the stencil. I could create the this part of the book to be larger than the stencil itself, because this material is 24 inches long. The cover for the book would be 12 inches tall this way, but I can make it, long enough this way to go past the 12 inches and make it as long as I want. So I'm thinking about trying to make a book here for my 12-inch stencils as well. So I currently have my 12-inch stencils in this book right here. I'm using a Totally Tiffany's binder, which is this is one of their binders, which is basically just a 3-ring binder with Velcro on the back of it. And then I have this, this is a scrapbook cover. This was from the Dollar Tree back when they used to sell the Miss Elizabeth scrapbooking supplies. And that's just a scrapbooking cover. And then I have this is actually my Creative Memories templates in here. And then I have another one of these books like this with 12 by 12 templates in it. Now this is pretty heavy with this cardboard. I could recreate this using the plastic and it might make it a little bit less heavy. But for now, this is working out, okay, because this is not very much in here. So I could keep this, or I could try to redo it using the plastic stencil material. And so I might try it, we'll see. So I do have some larger stencils in here, and I think I will create a third book at some point that'll be like an 8 by 10 or an 8 by 11, because these stencils here are actually 9 inches. So I'll probably take these stencils out and put them into a different book later. But for now, they'll just stay in this book and they'll just stick out over the top. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this post-bound album apart, and I'll show you guys how I created this cover. Okay, so with the post-bound album, you might be able to unscrew this with your fingers. If not, you can grab a screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver or just a flathead screwdriver, and just unscrew the post. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do is to take out the post. I'm just going to grab, this is just a Phillips screwdriver. I think you could probably also use a flathead screwdriver, and we're just going to unscrew these posts. It's pretty easy to do. If they're not too tight, you could probably even just use your fingers to unscrew this. And the post, sometimes you will also have extensions depending on how big your book can be. You can purchase extensions, which are just more metal that can extend your post to make your book bigger. I think there are extensions in this book. And then we're just going to take these pages out. And I'm going to set these over here to the side. So what we're going to need to make this are a couple of different tools. So let's go ahead and talk about what we need to make the cover. So we're going to need the plastic, and then we're also going to need the post. And this is the part that covers, this is the spine cover. This covers the back of the book. So you could make this part too if you wanted to cover the back of the book here. And I didn't bother to make this piece, but you could do that if you wanted to. It just makes it look pretty. It's not functional though. And I'm just going to pop this part out. And this is the, you can see here, we can unscrew this part here. There's actually, this is the post extension, and here is the rest of the part here. So we have these pieces. So we have the screw here, and these are the extensions. So you don't actually need these parts unless you're adding more pages. So actually what happens is when we take away this bulky album, we don't need these parts anymore unless you add more pages. We just need these parts here once we take away the bulk of this bulky album. I'm just going to set these parts aside, and we will eliminate this part here. Okay, so what we'll need is we will need a bone folder, a scoring tool, a scoring board. Grab that. And one of the things that's really difficult to work with this plastic is it's a very thick plastic. So the bone folder is really important, and so it's really hard to get the good score. So this bone folder is was one of the things that I spent a lot of money on. And I really wanted this, and I waited a really long time to purchase it, and I just kept putting it off, and I finally bit the bullet, and I spent, I think it was like $22 to purchase this. It's a real bone folder, and I think I had a plastic one for a really long time, and I just waited, and I finally decided to purchase this. It was one of the best purchases I ever made. If you've never used this type of a bone folder before, it's very heavy, and it's the best thing ever. When you use it on paper, it doesn't put marks on your paper. So when you press down in your paper, it doesn't leave like a shiny marks. So that's one of the main reasons why I decided to go ahead and get it. And I'll put a link to where you can find this actual product. I can't remember the brand, but it's a very worthwhile product to buy. But when I was doing this, I couldn't find this bone folder, and I was using a different one. I couldn't get this plastic to lay down flat until I was able to use this, and then finally it was working. So it's definitely worth the money to get one of these. Okay, so we also need a paper trimmer. So let me grab my paper trimmer. Okay, so whenever I'm cutting plastic, I like to use this Caterpillar Crop paper trimmer. It's got a self-sharpening blade. It's really awesome for cutting plastic and chipboard, although you do have to be very careful when you're cutting with this trimmer not to damage the blade or this cutting plate here. I did damage this one time, but Caterpillar has a really awesome warranty, and they did help me with replacing this. I did have to pay a little bit of a shipping fee, but I did actually damage it myself by cutting something I wasn't supposed to. I did cut some really heavy chipboard with it, and so you do have to be really careful with the things that you cut with this, but it does do a good job with cutting some thinner chipboard and plastic. Okay, so we're going to cut this to 11 inches by 8.5, and so this is 12 inches wide, so I think I'm going to cut this to 8.5, and then we'll cut it down to 11. So let's do our 8.5. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get this straight, because I'm still having a lot of trouble with my eyes being very blurry, and just being able to see things. So hopefully things won't get too crooked. If they do, well, it's just a book, so it'll be okay. Okay, so that's 8.5. And then we'll do 11 here, and then we'll just be left over with a strip of paper. Oh, that really looks crooked though. Oh my goodness, why does that look so crooked? Doesn't that look off? This is why I'm not doing any scrapbooking. Oh my God, that's so bad. What did I do? Okay, let me try that again. I don't know. We might have to save the demo for another video. Might have to walk y'all through it. Just kind of explain it, not actually perform this book. I might waste too much product doing this. Okay, let me try this one more time. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know how long it took me to make that first book. Okay, let me try this one more time. That was so bad. I gotta laugh at myself though. I'm having such a hard time seeing. My left eye, I'm almost blind in my left eye. It's so bad. Okay, but I have some good news. I had an MRI done and there's nothing wrong with my brain. At least that's what they said. So that's good. Okay. Let's see if we did better this time. Okay, so 8.5 by 11. That kind of surprised me though. Okay, here we go. That looks better. Okay, 11. There we go. All right, well, I wasted some, but I could use it for something else. Okay, let's try it again. We got one done. Let's try it one more time. Good thing I got 2 pieces out. Because we need two pieces. One more. Do one more. I maybe didn't have this arm straight enough. That's the only bad thing about this trimmer. Sometimes this moves around. Okay, let me do this one more time. We have 8.5. 11. Did I do it again? Oh my God. Oh no. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. How can I do that twice? Oh, I wonder if this is crooked. I don't think it's crooked. I think I'm crooked. Okay. All right. Lord. Okay, we're just gonna go with it. If it's off a little bit, it's okay. It's just a book for stencils. Okay, so now that we have it cut out, I never in my life had so much trouble with measuring stuff. Okay. All right, so now that we have that, we're gonna just take this scoreboard and we're gonna measure 1 inch. And we're just gonna make one score. It's going to want to do, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so we're going to do 1 inch. So we're just going to do a 1 inch score. And I'm going to just do it a couple of times. There we go. Okay. And we're going to take our bone folder. Maybe I'll just do both things at one time. Let's do both at one time. Okay. Here we go. Okay, this is actually the hardest part, is getting it to score, because this plastic is pretty heavy. So I'm going to start by just taking my fingers and trying to get it to bend. And then the problem is if I try to take the scoring tool to it too early, it'll start bending in the wrong place. And that's what happened the last time. So I'm just going to try to see if I can try to get it to start bending in the right place. And then we'll take the scoring tool. like that this is 10 mil, but it is a little bit hard to work with. I didn't try the 7 mil. It might, making a book cover with the 7 mil might work too. If you have 7 mil stencil material and you try this and it works and you like that for a book cover, leave a comment and let me know if the 7 mil stencil material works as a book cover. I'd be interested to know if that is thick enough to make a decent book cover. But yeah, you just have to work at it and get it to, you can see what we started with was, it's hardly bending at all. And then once we use that bone folder, see how much better that fold is. But it does take a little bit of work to get it to fold over. But then once it folds and once you use the bone folder, it'll hold its shape. Oh, there is one more tool that we need actually. We also need to have a hole punch. And what I like to use is, for plastic, is the, what's it called? What's that thing called? This thing here. It's got a name. I forget. The big bite, the 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗏. It's called the 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗏. Yeah, that's what it's called. And it's got the hole punch right here. And so what I usually do is I'll take one of my pages that I have, and then I'll just line it up with the cover. I'll punch the hole, and then I'll take this cover and line it up with that cover, and so that the covers will match. And I'll punch the second hole, and then once I have the covers with the holes punched out, then I will put the post through and then feed all the pages in. So it doesn't take too much time to actually make the book. And then the book goes together like this. You just put the post in, put all the pages on. And so let's see if we can finish this up. I'm just wondering, I don't know if I'll be able to get the holes in there and get it all lined up on camera without making a mistake. Let me just take my other book apart and show y'all what I did. My eyes are so blurry. Sometimes I have clearer vision. Some days my vision's better than other days, and right now my vision's pretty bad. So let me just take this book apart and show it to you. Let me just do that. Okay, so here is the album right here, and you can see that all I did was I just put the screws on, and I just fed the pages through. You can see here. We can take this apart. So actually, this particular post just has, that's interesting. That one just has the, did I put this in backwards? What did I do? Oh, that's interesting. I guess this post just has a flathead screw, and this one has the Phillips screw. I don't know how that happened, but we'll just take this one out so y'all can see. So you can see these are all the pages. So I just actually fed the I just fed the post through the cover, and then I just put all the pages on like that. We just put all the pages on, and then we just feed the other cover through. Hopefully y'all get the idea. I feel like I'm doing a really bad job with this demo. I hope y'all are getting some giggles though. So this has probably not been one of my best videos that I have done where I have shared a tutorial on how to create something, and I do have to apologize for that. I probably missed a step here and there. But I hope I have given you enough information that if you want to create one of these books or binders like this, that you can figure out how to do this. And I know I missed a few steps here and there because I don't think I mentioned using this tool to round the corners. So So if you do want to round the corners of your cover here, because this is kind of pointy, you can use this corner rounder. This is a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 corner chomper, and you can use this to create a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch and just round the corners of this. And you might be able to use a regular corner punch, but I'm not really sure if it would be able to cut through this plastic. So I like to use this corner chomper to round off the corners. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed. If I did, as I'm editing the video, I'll try to put some notes here and there throughout the video itself. And I'm kind of struggling with some health issues, and I'm having some really bad migraines, and also some vision problems, and also vertigo. And so it's affecting my focus and my ability to concentrate on things. And I'm just really having a hard time concentrating. So I know that I'm all over the place in this video, but I think this book is awesome, and I'm hoping I'm giving you some good ideas for how you can use this in your organization and storing things in your craft room. And I think it would be good. You could use this not only for stencils, but also to store other things in your craft room for storing, I think, embellishments like dies. You know, the ephemera dies, like your paper dies, but you can also use it for storing metal dies, although it might get kind of heavy to store metal dies. You could use it for storing embossing folders, you know, enamel dots, anything pretty much that's flat, I think would work really well with this type of binder storage. And there's other types of binding systems that you could use. I was going to mention that you can also use these book rings. If you don't want to use the post-bound system or the 3-ring or 2-ring binders, you could also just use these binding rings. You could use 2 rings or 3 rings of these binder rings. And there's also these, what do you call it, disc-bound systems. You can use this. Although if you're using these plastic sleeves, I don't really think that they have plastic sleeves for the disc-bound system. If they do, I think it's kind of expensive to purchase those. I'm trying to think of what else. There might be other ways to bind books. I think there's also the spiral-bound books, but again, I don't know that there's necessarily like plastic sleeves that go along with the spiral-bound books. So probably the best books for using plastic sleeves would be probably the post-bound or the 3-ring or 2-ring binders. Yeah. If you've created your own books, leave a comment in the description below and let me know about what other types of books you created to use in your organization system. I'd be really interested to find out how y'all use your own binders to store things in your craft room. I'm always interested to see how other people store things, and I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. That's how I get some of my ideas, and I just like to see how other people store things, and it gives me inspiration, and I can get a lot of different ideas for how other people, from watching other people's YouTube videos, and just how other people store things in their craft room. Okay, you guys, well, that's all I have for this video. So please be sure and go watch everyone else's videos that is participating in this month's YouTube Hop. And I hope you guys will join us next month. And that's all I have. So y'all take care. Hope y'all have an awesome weekend. I hope to see you next time. Bye now.